Hello and welcome. We're going to take a quick look through the PDF for the brand new Dune RPG. We're going to have a look at the art more than anything else because that's what's interesting me. You'll have to forgive me for if there's any background noise. It's sweltering hot, I've got the window open and I've got a fan going, so there may be some background noise. So here we are, we're looking at the front cover and I really like it, to be honest. I love the fact you've got the planet down here at the bottom, presumably Arrakis or Dune, with all the weapons stuck in it, indicating there's a fight going on. Again, I guess this is their Paul character. Now, I find it very odd that he's carrying a long sword. I'm not really sure how useful a long sword is when there are shields. Because you need to be up close in order to push through a shield, or at least that's my understanding of it. I don't know who this chap on the right is, but this is obviously a Bene Gesserit over here, carrying a knife. And as we go through the arch, you'll see there's a lot of Bene Gesserits carrying knives. I'm not sure if that's supposed to indicate something or not. But let's roll on. Stepping through these page at a time, looking for the artwork. Okay, so this is part of a two-page spread. So clearly a sandworm, that looks like the teeth, coming here. I wonder what this is. Maybe that's a claw for grabbing onto the worm. Yeah, here's the other half of it. Presumably that's a thumper. Wearing the capes, these are likely Fremens trying to get on top of it then. Worm is massive. I always imagined that something this big would flatten under its own weight to some extent, so it'd be more sort of oval shaped, but it's coming in round here. I love the deserty washed out look as well, that's pretty nice. Okay, so we got some desert artwork in the background. Not a lot to see there. Headings. Oh, hang on, let's go back. Okay, I don't know if this is just some aristo. This person in the back looks rather ominous. Maybe that's significant that they're behind. Has he got something in his nose? So, is that a Fremen? Wearing a still suit. It doesn't look very still suity to me, but let's go on. A nice space shot. That's clearly a guild liner. Because nobody else travels in space, do they, after all? I think that's reminiscent of the David Lynch models. They were like that, weren't they? I seem to remember they were cylindrical, but I don't actually remember if it described the liner at all in the books. Perhaps it did. Let's move on. Okay, so it's just a title page. Somebody down low with something in their hand, possibly a dagger, looking out on what appears to be a marketplace. Face covered. This face completely exposed. That surprises me. Why would anyone be exposed, even in a marketplace? You wouldn't want to lose the water. Oh, a grand palace. I wonder if this is supposed... No, this can't be on Arrakis, not with all this fernery here. And treesery. Looks like a two-page spread again. Yeah, there's the other half. Known universe. So this is one of the other planets. Total guess. Caladan, maybe? Don't know. Kind of interesting. I think these are guild shuttles for carrying people down. Interesting. There's no... What's the word? They're not giving anything to aerodynamics, are they? There's no aerofoil surfaces on this. Perhaps they fold out, or perhaps there are none. Mind you, Star Wars never really cared about aerofoils or anything, did it? So perhaps it's similar here. Okay, so they're going down to a planet. Hang on, let's go back a bit. So we've got fires lit outside. People walking around and like a large wall or a building. I can't really make out what it is. Okay. Come on, come on, come on. What else we got? Whoa. Gone a page too far. A great convention. So this is probably what the Lancelot looks like when it all gathers. All the different families lining up. Interesting. It's massive. Row upon row upon row. That suggests there's an awful lot of houses and an awful lot of planets that were not named in the books. Interesting. Okay, let's roll on. Oh, here we go. So we're back on the desert planet, throwing a hawk into the air. So that's not some little Distrans carrying bat. That's a hawk. From what I remember in the books, they did have hawks on the planet. But I didn't think they had any captured. So this is interesting. Is this a Fremen? Are they using hawks? The artwork in this RPG is relating to the new film. So perhaps for the film's purposes they used hawks rather than bats? Could be. Again, I'm assuming these are all Fremen. So that's the case. Okay, so this looks like a standard industrial scene based on the fact he's in work clothes. Goggles but no mask again. So this may not be on Dune. Okay, so it looks like that image stretches across 2 pages. Oh, now that's interesting. So we're in this pretty horrid industrial zone. People in robes are turning up. Wonder who they could be. And this person's really well suited. This one's more sort of military looking to me with the shorter jacket. Interesting. I wonder what that's a meeting about and who it is. I can't make out what this is. It's carrying something that could be significant. Keys, perhaps? Come on. Oh, a land of milk and honey with an ornithopter. Oh! Very tall buildings in the background. Wow. Could be anywhere, of course. I'm just going to keep saying Caladan because that's one of the few planets I know the name of. But if this is the look at the film, it does look like it's going to be interesting. Look at this. People in, again, I'm thinking Fremen because of the robes, but they look like they're carrying long rifles. Now that's interesting. Does that mean they're bringing guns into the film, I wonder? That would rather go against the knife and shield concept. Okay, somebody's giving a speech. Is it Leto? There's nothing indicating he's an evil person. Looks very grand. Very brutalist architecture, of course. Massive area, no microphone, so there's that hidden technology taking place. And that's everything, isn't it, really, about Dune? The technology's there, it's just not forefront, it's not in your face. And this is that character we saw before, behind the lady in blue. Assassins. Okay. So this is perhaps an assassin class character. Okay, what else have we got? House symbols. They're quite complicated. It's not a simple sort of square or triangle as I might have expected. They've gone for a more detailed coat of arms, even if it is fairly geometric. Okay, bog standard planet. Oh, here we go, another industrial scene. Long pipe work, steam. So again, it's unlikely to be Dune. Maybe this is supposed to be the Harkonnen homeworld, perhaps. Oh, whoop, went a page too far again. Now this casement here, I'm assuming this is a guild navigator. Look at that, it looks like a head with wings. The body's deteriorated to this, perhaps? Is this just like nerves? Oh, I wonder if they've gone that far. You're reduced to just like a brain and nerves, perhaps. But this casing around here again is reminiscent of the guild container that we saw in the Lynch film. I wonder if that's an homage to it. If that's going to be in the film, that is. I wonder how much access the people who created this had to imagery from the film. Yeah, there's the guild liner again. Hello. So this is our Mentat, is it? Okay, I wonder if the bald head is indicative of being a Mentat. I do like the style of the clothing, I have to say, it appeals to me. Okay. Okay, more Mentats, more bald heads. This looks like Arrakis, doesn't it? It's desert coloured, so obviously doing some calculations, and these are, what, starships? Very tall background, very ribbed, very Geiger-esque to some extent. And being born in the 80s, I of course love the shoulder pads. Now here's a Bene Gesserit, and there's the knife again, held behind the back. Interesting. Indicating perhaps an underhanded nature. Again, I love the flow. This was like in that previous character's coat, had these same sort of lines. Sorry, it's kind of French and Indian Wars uniformish. I like that. And this sort of faux cape here. Very nice. What else we got here? Whoa! Gone a page too far. What on earth is this? 4 people round a table with what looks like a hologram of a worm. But what is this table? See this light emanating from the bottom of the table? It's coming out here as well. It's indicative that perhaps it's distributing something. Could be how you distribute or do shares in spice, perhaps. Again, faces are not revealed. Interesting. But no idea what that means. Okay, suck doctors. So we're presumably looking at 2 medical people, looking at this poor fellow here. Interesting, we got this face on the screen here, which is repeated here as like a holographic representation. I wonder if it talks to the patient. Or would that be a little too much like an AI? Yeah, it's got a mark on the forehead, so suck doctor. Moving into the Bene Tailax and the swordsman. No art there. Onto Arrakis. Okay, so we're starting to see some sandworm action. Massive open mouth again with teeth. It's interesting, the teeth must be like a filter feeder type teeth. They're not actually biting, chomping teeth. They're more a case of filtering what goes in, or perhaps stopping what goes in from coming out. There's another one here raised up and looks like little people on the back there. Interesting. But these are massive, craggy, bark looking skin. I mean, if this shape here is supposed to be a... What's the word now? I can't remember. They steer the worms by lifting them up. That doesn't look like something a human could lift up. A scale? By lifting the scales? Oh. So stick things. So yeah, that's definitely, those sticks are definitely used by people riding. A lot of action in the background here and light coming down, so perhaps that means aircraft overhead. This looks like a really uncomfortable way of riding. This character is sort of tipped forward at the waist. rather than laying back. That looks quite uncomfortable. Okay, let's move on. I'm loving how this art looks though, the style. Alright, it's the fashions I think that swing me. Okay, another sort of semi-generic space picture. With lots of spacecraft here. But no guild liner, so maybe these are frigates or something? Getty Prime. Nothing very interesting there. Ix. No, just round spheres in the sky. Yeah, seeing a few moons. Nighttime lights turned on. Yeah, so... yeah, another fairly generic space picture. Generic space picture. Generic space picture. This looks like another double-page spread. I have no idea what these are. Looks like some of them have been toppled or they're old. Graveyard, perhaps? Looks like it's on a coastline. Hang on, let's go back. Let's go on. Okay, I don't recognise that symbol. These craft have no wings. Seems very odd. Space-going craft, I guess, have no wings, but aircraft have wings of some sort. Ornithopters have wings, we know that. These people look like they're perhaps masked. I don't know what that's about. But this one isn't. Okay. Oh, here we go. A dagger behind the back. It's got to be a Bene Gesserit then. But in a crowd like this, they're going to see the knife. Hardly seems like a good idea to keep it out in the open like that. A needle would have been better. Okay, grand collars. Very stiff, upright look. Wide belt, interesting. But long coat. It's like a formal dress for a military person. Interesting. Okay, there's something going on here. This character's pointing a gun at this one with a knife. Well, it looks like a gun. Slow pellet projector, perhaps? Oh. Presumably that's the shield wall. So is this Arakeen? Again, very monolithic buildings. And over there as well. Again, a double-page spread. Ah, shame this text is here. But yeah, here's like the city, and that looks like a wall. Presumably a defensive wall around it. Interesting. Do love the art. Keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going. Okay. Somebody's been captured. 3 captures holding ropes. Looks like this person is screaming their head off. His legs are half bound. And they're keeping their distance away. Wonder if that's significant. If you've got someone bound like that, you might as well bind them up all the way. But they're keeping their distance. Wonder who it could be. What's this? Vehicle? Okay, let's carry on. Whoa. So a worm bursting in on somebody. These chaps are all running for their lives. Sending these, what are they, tents? Sending them flying. Again, these massive scales. There's no way you could lift one of those. Oh, that's part of a 2-pager again. So it's bursting in here and there's more tents over here. Interesting. I love this sort of watercolour background as well. It's very nice. Very stylish. Let's roll on. Yeah, we've seen that picture before. We've seen this Mentat. This is a Fremen picture. Okay, so this is an interesting still suit. Gone of the Lynch balloons that they were wearing. This looks more like perhaps a padded environment suit. There's no obvious... The Lynch suits looked like they were working. Looked like when you moved it would pump something. This doesn't look like that. This doesn't look as though it's doing stuff. This just looks like something you wear. Interesting. Why are all their cloaks so threadbare? And is that a crysknife? Presumably it is. Interesting that it appears to be straight. It's not a curved blade. Interesting. A guild agent, so guild in white. Just normal. Yeah, and here we go, is that long coat again with the boots. This is very stylish stuff. Let's roll on. Got any more art for me? Okay, so a library, some floating glow globes, and... Is that supposed to be a shadow on the paper, or are we seeing something through it? In which case it looks like a profile, or possibly a map. The desert's edge, perhaps. Okay, not a lot more to see there. Come on. Seems to be having trouble loading from the loading up the pages of the PDF. Okay, so a lot of activity. An attack in progress, perhaps? Okay. Somebody playing a stringed instrument. Doesn't look like it's got a box behind it like a guitar has. Don't know, it gives me, with these pots here, that it looks like perhaps a beggar. Let's roll on. Oh yes, now that's nice. Very, very militaristic. I like that look. The boots look a bit odd though. They're sort of squared off in a 2000 AD Judge Dredd kind of a way. Perhaps not a fan of these boots. Okay, so going through skills and stuff now. If we're moving away from the background material, there may be less art. Market scene again. Interesting. I wonder what's in the barrels. It looks like it's under an overhang, so perhaps... I don't know where I was going with that. Interesting, but it looks like a double pager again. Oh, these are the characters we saw earlier, but on the other side. They've flipped it around for that earlier print by the looks of it. Again, this person is not covered. Got their hair tied up. Could that be water rings? Don't know. Oh, hang on. Okay, so we're getting a medal presented to somebody. It looks like a very regal arrangement. Yet this person has rolled up sleeves and no jacket. Seems very odd to go to such a formal place and not have a jacket. Okay. Dice. Okay, somebody's cultivating plants. Is this the weirding room in Carthag? Not Carthag, Arrakeen, isn't it? Could be. I always thought there'd be more sort of pools of open water and stuff. really flaunting the access to water. But it may not be related. A bullfight? Is this supposed to be Paul's grandfather? Could be. Interesting. What is this cloak doing? Is it held up stiffly, or is this an action? It doesn't look like this character's moving, but the bull is certainly moving. Maybe that's on a wire or something that he hides behind, he holds it up. But it's definitely in an arena situation. So this could be the beast that did the killing. Interesting. I wonder if that means there'll be a scene of that in the film. Okay, so we've got something crashed over here. Is it an ornithopter? Looks like a big one if it is. I always imagine them to be like small bubble helicopters. There's a cloak, so these are possibly Fremen. Again with that long thing that looks like a rifle. Wow, people running from the sandworms again. No protection on their head. No mask. And it looks like a dust storm coming in as well. And lightning, of course. Very nice. Oh, what's this? Confrontation. Jessica? Shut out? Possibly. Interesting. Whoa. Okay, so that looks like a Fremen suit. Don't recognise the symbol. It looks light coloured, so that could be Guild. Or the Emperor, perhaps? One of the Sardaukar? I don't know. Oh, and an ornithopter up here. So is this... Oh, they just leapt from it. Wow. Oh, look at this. Wow, are they dueling in the rain? Wonder where this is taking place. And turn that blade round. Never carry it back. That's only good for stabbing downwards. It's no good for anything else when you hold it like that. Can't flick the point out and nick a vein with that, can you? So this is somebody watching it, again with the reversed daggers. That's for a finishing move or a sneaking up behind move. Okay. There's that wall that I saw earlier. One of the other images with the fires. So this is possibly an expanded version of that art we saw before. Looks like something devastating is raining down. And that white colour, is this Sardaukar again? Could be. Well, these two carrying their what look like shotguns. There's so many guns. This game is full of guns. Dune wasn't really a gunny kind of place. I do wonder if the film's going to do that though. But they're about to get some nasty surprises by the looks of it. Fast roping down from ornithopters with 2 sets of wings. Interesting, I hadn't thought of that. But who drops into the desert without their mask on? Fools, that's who. Now this is a weird one. Clearly there's some sneaking going on here. So this character behind's got a hand over this one's face, and look at this, he's... Oh, is this one of the characters that can change their look, their face? Face dancer, that's the word. Is that a face dancer in mid-change? Not knowing who to look like? Could be. So this ship is clearly having a bad time. It's on fire, flying over some city or other. Yeah, this isn't the same image. It's diving in somewhere, being chased, presumably, by those ornithopters. What? Donkeys and bows and arrows? Is that on Dune? Donkeys drink a lot of water. And bows and arrows? Are they any better against shields than guns, perhaps? I wonder. Gonna have to get into reading these rules to find out what that's all about. Oh my. So I'm assuming this is one of the Fremen water caches. Again, looks like people with guns coming in here. The Harkonnens discovered a water cache. Could be. Glow globes. Seems very light up here. I'd be very surprised if such water was open to the air. Oh. Oh my, look at that. It looks like a huge revolver. Are they carrying revolving carbines? Or does that fire slow darts that can penetrate shields, perhaps? Okay. 2 knives. Versus 1, but again, one's reversed in the hand. Why? Blue eyes. Who is this? Why are they attacking this person? Oh, hang on. Could this be a challenger for Paul, having to face off against Chani first? She did do that. Is that Chani? Again, I'm just assuming it's from the book. I don't know, but that would fit that idea at least. Sunset. One of the moons. I'm guessing a paracompass. And again, the long weapon. Sword or rifle? There's that scene again, that wall with the fires in front. They've reused a lot of the art, haven't they? Once or twice. And this looks familiar. This looks like the one where the chap was running at him. So they've reused that. But I don't think we saw this chap before. Giving instructions to civilians, perhaps? Oh yeah, here he comes with the gun. Yeah, they're all carrying guns. Oh wow. Are they dropping down on flat platforms that then tip up to drop the men off? That's a pretty weird way of delivering people. It looks like this fight is inside a large wall. These are presumably the carriers. That it would lower a flat, like sled-like thing seems really weird. Unprotected. If guns are as prevalent as they seem to be, you'd want some protection, I would have thought. Okay, so we've got an assassin here with a knife running away from a corpse. One of the Nazgul over here watching, apparently. Interesting. So 4 people arriving. Someone's sitting on what looks like a throne-like affair, but it looks like it might be in an inn or a tavern because there's other things going on over here. Yeah, drinking. So it looks like a tavern. So is this an underworld boss? These characters are coming in to pay homage, perhaps. Not glow globes, but wall lights. That's interesting. So are glow globes special? I thought from my reading of the book they were I just assumed they were common everywhere. Okay, another market scene. Why would you have meat out here? That's got moisture content. Maybe it's dried food. Who's this? Is that the Emperor? Purple indicates the Emperor, doesn't it? Purple is the Emperor's colour. couple of advisors, and looks like somebody in the background. Oh my goodness. The city is ablaze behind its defensive wall. Didn't stop this fellow coming in though, did it? I wonder what these are dropping down. There's more than one of them. Fire bombs, perhaps? Okay. Advice on game mastering, okay. Wow. Another formal scene is, I'm gonna guess, a Reverend Mother with some acolytes. Okay. What else we got? A morgue. Looks like it could be a morgue at least. Looks like a robot arm down here. Robots. That's interesting. I wonder if that can't be any AI, can it? That wouldn't be Dune. This is a Psymech or something from the distant past. So it looks like a religious ritual with books, some drink to offer. So is this a Reverend Mother? Again, the purple indicates it's a high up person, doesn't it? Interesting. The big hat, that mirrored the large hat the Bene Gesserit we saw earlier was wearing. Lots more writing now, less art. Desert scene. No detail here. Walking away from an obvious fight. Or running, perhaps. Oh, okay, so this is facing off against these two. Or three, I think it was. So the other one's running away because this is being handled. Okay. Interesting, like a helmet over that guy. Character profiles for the names we know. Princess Irulan, do you really need a character sheet for her? Oh, there's Charlie and Liat. Okay, come on. Oh, that was my beggar. Go back. Go back. Oh, now I've gone too far back. It's the problem of the PDF is loading pages slower than I'm scrolling the mouse. It does look more like a beggar. Inside somewhere. Or at least a covered walkway. I don't think that page is blank. I think it's loading very slowly. Criminal. Again, that long frock coat that I like the look of. Not sure with that hair. And again, the 2000 AD boots. Oh, and we saw that right near the beginning. Courtier. So it is basically an aristo of some sort. Interesting how one arm is covered. I wonder if that's a style. So that's a different fremsuit look. Looks almost like a leather over the top here. But I wonder if this was done by a different artist. This doesn't look as well shaded. Green leaves, what's that all about? Oh, here we go. That's one character we saw before. And here's the chap with his sleeves pushed up who was getting the medal. See, that's much better. A short sword. Interesting. He needs to pull his braces up, though, or his trousers are going to fall down. Interesting. He's got the lines in his hair. Okay, there's that wide belt. We saw that earlier, so that's going to be a theme here as well. And a mentat with hair. So not all mentats shave their head. Okay. Sardaukar. Okay, so the white is Sardaukar. White was the guild as well, I think. 2 blades. Wonder if that's normal practice. I suppose if you're fighting with shields, you're not going to carry like a physical shield in your other arm. You'd carry either another weapon, because why not? So why not 2 daggers? Again, definitely better than having a long sword, I think. Because to get through a shield slowly, you've got to use the point. You can't push the edge through in a meaningful way, I don't think. Oh dear. Must be in the Navy, this scientist, with flares like that. That could be a poison snooper. Those cones look like they might sniff. A servant, yeah, with a long coat. I like it. Okay, so we got a smuggler. It looks like they're wearing a steel suit. The footwear's not quite as offensive as before. Interesting. Wearing a tattered garment over the top. They all wear this tattered cloak. That looks like it's going to be a theme in this game. Whenever a new character turns up, a new guy turns up, he walks through the door, he's wearing tattered clothing, like everybody else. Wasn't this the assassin we saw earlier? I thought I saw something in the nose. Looks like he's got his nose plugs in. Scooting closer to the screen. It doesn't look like he's wearing a steel suit. Kind of got a beetle look about him with these sort of layered thing. It looks like he's got wings folded behind him almost. I don't know why, but I don't like this look. That up at the front thing without a decent tail on the coat doesn't look very nice. Doesn't appeal to my aesthetic feels. What the heck was that? Ah, Telexu Master. Interesting, they're making them out here to be evil people. I suppose they were, weren't they? What with their axolotl tanks and so on. Interesting, swaggering with a stick. Not sure what this is behind here. Again, very blocky, rectangular, unsympathetic angles in the clothing. I think that's a deliberate choice. Interesting. I'm kind of hoping all this aesthetic is used in the film as well, because I like it. Apart from the boots. Now what have we got here? 2 people fighting, but there's guards here, so they're not doing anything. So this is training, perhaps? Perhaps they're guards and this is people training. Who look very overextended in that. That looks like a weak swing. And again, he's holding the dagger backwards. Why? You haven't got one forwards in the other hand. Seems like a very bad idea. That's something they do in movies so often. I mean, I've even seen people take their shield and turn their shield round. I mean, if you can't kill the guy with your sword pointing at him, holding it the wrong way round, it's not going to make you have a better chance of hitting him. But that's what they do. Heavily industrialized city. Harkonnen, possibly? Or just any well-populated world, potentially. Again, very brutal, dark, grey colours. And a close-up, it looks like on the same thing. Looks like an open doorway, which is probably where they throw out all the bad people. It's a big pile of bad people at the bottom of the tower. Okay, that's a wash of that palace we saw earlier. Okay, somebody in the desert. But this looks like it's a wall in the background. Coming home, possibly? Can't tell if his face is covered or not. But that looks like very tattered clothing again, doesn't it? So this is coming home to a city by the looks of it. Oh yeah, there's the wall continuing. Few people, they come to see the city. Maybe. We watch the city from the nearby dunes. Okay, so presumably this is a carry-all. Are these harvesters? Ornithopters lined up. I like how they're nose down. That's interesting. That's reminiscent of the shape we saw in one of the earlier images that looked like a crashed vehicle. I think that confirms it was an ornithopter that was crashed. It had Fremen on the hill looking on. So I'm going to guess these are... That's a carry-all, which again is kind of reminiscent with that V-shaped hull of the old film from the 80s. I wonder if they are homages to that, or if that's mentioned in the book. Again, I don't remember any mention in the book of the shape of a carry-all. Interesting. Okay. Act 3. Okay, is this a scenario? Okay, look, we got a gunfight going on. Shooting towards these people over here. Why are you shooting? Can't be las guns, because if they've got a shield, boom. Why would they use guns? Guns would be good in an ambush, because if you're ambushing people who aren't expecting you, they wouldn't have their shield turned on. If they're in the desert, they wouldn't have their shield turned on, because it would attract a worm. So, yeah, perhaps you would have guns. I know the Fremen had their Mauler pistols, but I always imagined that was more about shooting other Fremen, you know, into tribal warfare, which is why they carried those, I assumed. Interesting, isn't it? Las guns, shields. You don't want to use shields around las guns. You don't want to use las guns. You don't want to use shields in the desert, because it brings something worse than nukes. It brings a worm. Interesting. So maybe guns are more prevalent in this version. I didn't see any... So we've paged through. I didn't see any list of guns, you know, on weapon lists or anything. Oh, look at that. That's a worm taking down a miner. Ornithopters flying around. Interesting, they got like 2 hand controls, like tank controls almost. Wonder if that's how they steer. Conclusion, are we near the end? Okay, it's glow globes. Someone on their knees praying. The God Emperor doesn't listen to your prayers. Okay, so there's a character sheet. Or is it? No, a house record sheet. Interesting. Character sheet. Not sure I'm a fan of all this embroidery around the edge. I like my character sheets pretty plain, to be honest. Okay, tables and what have you. And index. So there may be some art at the end, but I doubt it. Nope, that's your lot. Okay, so that's a run through of the art, and it only took, blimey now, blooming heck, 50 minutes. Not sure if I'll edit this down, but be assured it's taken me 50 minutes to get to this point. Alright, thank you very much for watching. Speak to you next time. Bye.